What's going on? It's P-Rod here, and you're listening to Sports Rapp live on Sports Talk 790 AM and iHeartRadio. Peace.
What up, P-Rod? Street League season is in full effect, but you guys don't know about that. We might tell you about that on another night. Welcome back to Sports Rapp Live, everybody. We are at Junction Bar and Grill, 160.
Adam, the drinks are going down smooth.
West Gray.
They're going down smooth.
In the shadow of downtown Houston. And you already know how we get it in.
Yeah.
We riding around, we getting it in. The sneakers are starting to show up. Reebok's in the house. I see some half cabs showing up. It's going down, but that segment's coming up in just a little bit. Right now, we got to keep our eye on the diamond in the Martinez Report with himself, the man, the myth, the legend, Andrew Martinez. What's up, brother?
Let's talk about these Astros for a little bit.
Hey, great week of baseball, as always, man. The intrigue is at an all-time high, I think.
It is.
Attendance actually is at an historic pace for baseball right now. Did you know that?
It is. Yeah, I know that. It was up, 6%?
You can't see it here in Houston.
No, maybe not.
That means
we saw it this
places.
past weekend for sure.
Definitely.
I want to talk about this Astros team, and they are 2 games under 500. They actually have a better record than the Tigers, who I picked the Tigers, hands down to win the NAL Central. But this Rockets team is really showing a lot of, you know what they are? They're scrappy. They're sparky. They're scrappy. And this team right now, 2 games under 500. You brought it up earlier. Let's talk about 500. I think 500 is the mark this Astros team should be striving to. I think that would be, because earlier in the season, Adam, I thought that mark would be just don't get last, in the division. I think right now it's clear that the Pirates and the Cubs are going to be inferior teams. I think the new mark is 500.
What did you say this morning? What did you say this morning about the Pirates at our meeting?
Outside of their offense being abysmal?
You said they were probably one of the worst baseball teams you've ever seen.
Well, offensively, they are one of the worst baseball teams I've seen in quite a while. I mean, quite a while. They are very, very bad. I mean, how do they look Andrew McCutchen in the face every day, who is the star crown jewel of their whole team? But
Get that money, Andrew.
I don't even understand how this team was in contention. Adam, last year on the All-Star break, this team was in first place, and they were in first place in the division to a team that won the World Series. They were behind. They were ahead of the Cardinals. This year, not so much. Not so much
at all. Well, what's your definition of 500? Can you ever settle for 500 when you've had a couple years like the Astros have, Kadoma? I know you're not a big baseball guy, but I just want to ask you on the outside looking in.
500's looking up right now. So, I guess you could settle, but, you want to start every season with high expectations, I would think. You don't want to aim for 500, But, if you wind up there and it's better than you did, the past couple of seasons, then it's improvement. But it's not where you want to be.
Well, I see what improvement is, Adam.
Let me ask you guys out there on the Ghost Pepper Hotline, 713-212-5790. Are you happy with change, with a 500 finish, and going to the American League next year? I know it's a loaded question, but
Adam, I'll tell you this little fun fact. Bring back some fun facts.
Yep.
Is that last year they swept 2 teams, the Cubs and the Pirates. This year they've swept the Cubs again and the Mets. I think this Astros team is showing a lot of fight. And we were talking about earlier, who are the stars of this team? I think Altuve has really shown that he is one of the
He's a rated rookie?
Rated sophomore for sure. His rookie season was through the roof. This little kid got swagger. You want to talk about swag? Swaggy. He's swaggy for sure. And I'll tell you what else.
Wow, he was swaggy on Altuve.
I think Altuve, maybe he shouldn't start for the NL All-Star team, but he should certainly be the next man up. And the same goes for Jed Lowry. I think Jed Lowry and him have been probably the best combination of middle infielders in the National League. You also have to look at why is this team doing so well. Part of his pitching. Wandy Rodriguez last night did a great job. His stock is at an all-time high. I really am interested to see if they're able to trade him for some pieces. We talked about before.
Is that inevitable, Andrew? Is Wandy getting traded?
He should be traded. I'm not sure if it's inevitable. He should be traded.
If you're Jeff Luhnow, you trade him.
Yes, because his stock right now, we talked about before he signed that extension that he really had a kind of a rough season last year. His stock right now is at an all-time high. They should trade him because you can probably get a whole lot for him right now. And the same goes for Brett Myers. I was very critical in the beginning of the season as to if he should be the closer.
From the front to the back.
But now that you look at this season, the way the closers have gone, and we've gone the closer carousel before, Brett Myers is looking like a great option for a lot of these teams. And he could be a stabilizing force for a lot of the back ends of the bullpen and the AL and NL teams. So I think both those players have helped their stock. I think Jeff Luhnow and the new ownership has really created an environment to where these players could really create a lot of hype, and they could really get a lot of value for these players. We've seen Jonathan Singleton, who has risen through the ranks. He's probably, I was reading today in Keith Law's prospect ratings, he listed him as his top 25 players. The new prospects, who's up there. He didn't list Jonathan Singleton as one of those players, but he listed him as his honorable mention. I think Singleton's going to be a big chip, and they make similar trades if they can get something value for these guys.
How does JD Martinez breaking out of this slump help the Astros right now?
Listen, he's going to get the hits wherever he can get them right now. I mean, in the game against the Cubs last night, they had two players run into each other almost. Well, pretty much, yes, they did, to where it helped him get off the schneid. But he is starting to get back in the groove, and if he can keep it going, listen, these young players, when you have a whole roster of rookies and sophomore players, it's going to happen that someone's in a funk and someone's in a slump. But by him getting through it, he needs those struggles. Every player is met with adversity when they first break into the majors. It's how do you react to it. He has reacted adversely so far, but it's about what he's going to do with that now. I think he's really going to pick it up.
Right on, right on. So Astros, we're shooting for 500.
Yes, we are.
Bottom
Let's
line.
get some other baseball nuggets.
Let's
I want
do
to
it.
bring up the Cleveland Indians. This is a team that we haven't really talked about a lot. This I think one of B's weekly cues.
Yep.
But we need to get in them. The Indians are really lapping the field in the AL Central. I mean, it's.
Let me ask you this: how did you feel about Chris Perez calling out the fan base? First and foremost, the fan base of Cleveland, which was there all the '90s. They were basically there the entire decade. Absolutely
justified. Because if you look at the game, even though I think it was like yesterday, there's not a lot of fans showing up for a team that is first place. This team did this last year, and we doubted them, and I doubted them the whole time, and eventually they did, do what I thought they were going to do, and they succumbed to the Tigers, who are a very good team. But this year, it looks like this Tigers, who I just touched on earlier, they have a record worse than the Astros. This division really can be theirs. This really can be the Indians division. I think it's pretty sad that we talk about the Astros fans coming out and showing support. This is a sort of a fair weather town that will come out when the team's doing well. Cleveland is showing themselves right now that they're a town that really doesn't care about a product that has been first place for much of last season, and they're doing it again. If I was a Cleveland fan, I would for sure be going out to those Indians games.
Much of that success goes to Derek Lowe, who blew up at the end of the season last year for the Braves.
Well, I will say he's trying to do it with smoke and mirrors, and I'm not sure how long they can hang on, but he's been doing a pretty good job so far. The other team I want to talk on, Adam, that we need to talk about as far as teams on the come-up is the Reds. I picked the Reds earlier in the season to start and win the NL Central. I was very shocked that the St. Louis Cardinals were doing as well as they have. They were still number 2 in my power rankings this past week. I might have to downgrade them up quite a bit because the Reds have already caught them. And the Reds have, depth in spades. They've already brought up all kinds of guys. They have Todd Frazier right now, who's their third baseman, who's replacing Scott Rowland. They have their trade they made in the offseason with Matt Latos. They seem to pay dividends. And Jay Bruce is just on a tear. Joey Votto is a former MVP.
Drew Stubbs
playing all-star level defense in center field. And Devin Mesoraco, while not getting a lot of time, that's another star player they have in the works. So I think this Reds
Brandon
team...
Phillips.
Brandon Phillips. On and on. Yeah, we can go on and on. I think this team is really starting to show the kind of merit and the kind of talent and the want. That's a good term right there, want, that I kind of thought this team would show early in the season. So, hey, you know what? If the Cardinals don't get right from their injuries, Matt Adams needs to help this team a lot because they can have great pitching, but guess what? Cincinnati won this division 2 years ago. They can win it again.
Are you a pro Dusty Baker guy or con?
The biggest anti-Dusty Baker person there is out there.
Yeah,
but I will say he probably made a pretty
That's why I asked you.
He made a pretty good move this week and finally getting Aroldis Chapman into his closer role. He finally needed to do it, and he finally did it. So,
good for him. All right, well, let's talk about a couple other things. The Orioles, surprising nobody but themselves right now as they're in first place in the AL East. And apparently, if you want to challenge the Orioles right now in the AL East, it's going to cost you $3 billion as the Steinbrenners put a price tag on the Yankees if anybody's buying.
I will take a page out of some Yankee commentators today. The Yankees aren't for sale until I hear they're for sale. Listen, this is just all rumor and conjecture, about the team being for sale. The team isn't for sale until we hear there's a buyer.
Sure.
Hal
sure, but
Steinbrenner
how's
came out
that
and
$3 million price tag treated?
Hal Steinbrenner of the 4th place Yankees. And by the way, quick little standings look right now.
Yeah.
Who's in 4th and 5th place? The Yankees and the Red Sox.
Just flip it.
Yeah, it's pretty much upside down right now in the AL East. Kudos to the teams that we've already touched on before, the Toronto Blue Jays and Tampa Bay Rays. But Baltimore's been holding it down. And I must say the Yankees right now, I think that Steinbrenner if he was in his grave right now, he is
Dougieing. He's doing the Dougie in his grave right now. Steinbrenner is.
I don't know what he's doing, but he is probably turning and rolling over in his grave, seeing that the Baltimore Orioles are in first place. But you know what? You have to give them props. They're holding it. I don't think they're going to hold it. I think they're probably still going to finish last in the division. But you know what? Props to them
are
for
they
doing
the Pirates of last year?
Yes, and you know what? They also are. They're also the Padres of 3 seasons ago.
Right.
They're the Indians of last season, the Pirates of last season, and the
or maybe they're just the Orioles of this season. We don't know.
They are doing well.
New uniforms, new attitude, new.
I'll throw this out there right now.
Yep.
There have been rumors that Kevin Youkilis could be traded because he has, they have Will Middlebrooks now in the Red Sox. I think that he could get traded to a contender. There's rumors even, we're going to touch on this right now, that Roy Oswalt could sign with the Orioles.
What happened to Texas?
Well, they're in the mix. They're in the mix as well as with Philadelphia. I think they can all be in the mix. But if the Orioles sign him, that could be a sign that the Orioles are in it to win it.
And they're serious. But Buck Showalter is in it to win it. I guarantee you that.
Well, Buck Showalter is definitely the Fighting Buck Showalters. That's what we'll call him from now on.
Gritty manager.
We should retire the Orioles name and just call him the Fighting Buck Showalters, because that every time he gets a hold of a team that's young, he turns that ship around.
And you know what his slogan should be? Buck you. All right. Yeah. What else you got in baseball before we go to break? We only got like 45 seconds.
That's about it. Bryce Harper's still doing what he's doing. I want to touch on Mike Trout.
Yeah.
Mike Trout, we touched on him a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
The kid is just tearing it up. He's probably going to be odds-on favorite to win the AL Rookie of the Year. The kid is a phenom.
All right. When he's out there in Los Angeles.
Yes,
Angels of Anaheim. What about Pujols? You got a Pujols update for us?
Still struggling.
Garbage. Talk about bringing your garbage pail.
Well, I'll tell you
this. He brought his whole garbage truck with
today
him.
My man Jonah Carey read a piece over at Grantland about the biggest bust this year in fantasy. Number 1, Pujols. He's ranked
by far.
He's ranked like 329th or something as far as like fantasy players. I mean,
out
that's
of 330.
Probably.
Basically.
Probably.
All right, Angela, you guys can check him on rotowire.com. You can find him on sportsraplive.com at Antinez. That is our eye on the diamond.
Sunday, Power Rankings.
Power Rankings coming out soon, and I know there might be a little shakeup.
This weekend, the Astros going to L.A. Astros have the second worst road record. Dodgers have the best home record. Hey, you know what? I expect them to make noise, though.
Sure. They're going to rattle some cages.
They've always made noise this whole season. Let's make some more noise.
Absolutely. Shout out to Magic Johnson. All right, guys. We'll be right back. I know we're running late to break. When we get back, it's time. Hey, take your shirt off like I did tonight. The heat is on the table for the Sneak of the Week and much more on Sports Rap Live.